Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to the first edition of a brand new review series where I am going to be talking about The Flash Season 7, and before we get things started I am going to give a quick recap of everything that's happened so far, and then we're going to be talking about the season premiere of the show. So as everybody remembers, The Flash Season 6 ended at 19 episodes instead of the traditional 20 plus, and a lot of the reason for that is due to everything that's been going on in the world at the moment. A lot of the shows within the Arrowverse are having their seasons cut short, so instead of getting, for example, 22 episodes, a lot of shows have been getting like 19 or 18 episodes. But I thought everybody in the cast and everybody on the show, to their credit, did an excellent job in putting together a decent ending for Season 6. And even though the last episode might have felt a little bit clunky in some parts, a lot of that is because this was not actually the intended season finale that they had planned. But to their credit, as I said, they did an excellent job. And as we saw in Season 6, Barry Allen has been continuing to losing his speed. Iris is trapped in the Mirrorverse along with Camilla and Captain Singh, and Eva McCulloch, who is the master of the mirrors, who is the show's mirror master, she created a mirror duplicate of Iris and she pretended to be Barry Allen's wife, but Barry Allen managed to figure out that it wasn't the real Iris, which led to the duplicate being destroyed and Eva McCulloch escaping and getting her revenge on her husband, who she blames for being trapped in the Mirrorverse, and she murdered him in the show's season finale. So we see Iris manage to find Camilla, but before she could do anything, she experienced a terrible head trauma which resulted in her disappearing from that side of the Mirrorverse, so I'm guessing she's probably gone to the darker side of the Mirrorverse. And Barry Allen, before the show wrapped up, gave a heartfelt speech to Team Flash that he was going to do everything in his power to not only get Iris back, but to get everybody back home where they belong. So I thought that was a really good way to end Season 6 and an exciting way to set up for Season 7. So after having watched the season premiere of Season 7, I thought this episode was very good and very emotional, because this didn't feel like the first episode. This almost felt like, I don't know, kind of like a season finale, or maybe like the second to last episode before the season finale, because it was very emotional and it had an ending which I did not see coming, and I didn't think it was going to go that way, but it really touched on your soul and your heart, especially when I mentioned who the character was involved in that emotional moment. But this was a great episode and we are off to the races, and what a great way to start off Season 7. So let's get right into it. Let's not waste any more time. Let's talk about Episode 1, All's Wells That Ends Wells. So after the showdown with Eva McCulloch from Season 6, we see Team Flash is hard at work trying to build an artificial speed force for Barry, which will help him get his speed back. We learn that Caitlin is still with her mother and Cisco is away on a trip, so we see Team Flash is left with Chester Punk, Nash Wells and Allegra. We see things aren't going especially well with the creation of the artificial speed force, and through the Council of Wells, who is assisting as all iterations of Harrison Wells exist within Nash. So the reason for that is because when the events of Crisis occurred, obviously, as we all know, all of the Earths within the multiverse was wiped out by antimatter, and each version of Harrison Wells obviously all died, so they all exist within Nash Wells, which is why he's able to communicate with the Council of Wells, and that's why he's able to see each different version, because each of their DNA now resides in his body. So I thought that was a very good and interesting explanation for why Nash Wells is able to see these guys. We also learn that Ralph is way off the grid with Sue Dearborn, so I thought that was a nice little shout out. We also see Iris is still trapped in the Mirrorverse and is struggling, and she is experiencing a hallucination of a normal date night with Barry, only to realise it's not real, and then encounters a darker, sinister version of herself. So all throughout this episode with Iris, she's seeing different versions of herself from various points of the show. So for example, she would see Iris from season 1, and then down the hallway she would see Iris from season 2, or she might see Iris from season 3 who was murdered by Savitar. So each time she's seeing a different version of herself. So I thought that was a really good scene with Candice Patton. And Candice Patton does get a bit of flack sometimes, but I think she's an incredible actress, and the way she's able to play different versions of herself, I thought she put on an outstanding performance in my opinion. So we see Iris is able to figure out that it's not coming from her own mind at all, but it's still Eva McCulloch from the outside messing with her within the mirror prison. So we see Eva continues taking out remnants of the black hole with the Flash, who is still powerless to stop her. She ends up killing Sam Scudder, who is the original Mirror Master, but also reveals to Rosa Dillon that Sam was never actually a real man, but was her very first mirror duplicate, thus explaining his powers and why he shattered like a mirror when she killed him. Back at McCulloch, Eva goes through her late husband's hard drive and finds a video labelled for Eva. She eventually watches the video and discovers that Joseph hadn't been lying at all when he said his wife had died. We see the video footage reveals that Eva was blasted against the mirror during the particle accelerator explosion, with the impact killing her, but at the same time it created a mirror duplicate of her in the process, but having all of her memories. So the Eva that we've been seeing all along is actually a mirror duplicate. Now I thought that was a really good twist, because she's able to control mirrors, but now we learn that the real one actually died and she was just created from the particle accelerator. So I thought that was a really good twist. While trying to solve the power source for the artificial speed force, the Council of Wells figures out that it's the multiversal particles that are in Nash that are required, but they'll need an organic receptor, meaning that in order for Barry to get his speed back, Nash Wells will have to die. Nash initially rejects this idea, and they attempt to have Allegra blast the particles out of him, but that doesn't work, and the particles end up in Barry Allen, who briefly makes him the adult for all of the Welleses. Now this was a really good performance from Grant Gustin, because the way he's able to act like different versions of Harrison Wells was so hilarious. So 1 minute he's acting like HR, 1 minute he's acting like Sherlock, and then the next thing you know he's acting like Harry Wells. So I thought that was a really good performance from Grant Gustin in my opinion. So after a hearts-to-hearts with Harry Wells through Barry, Nash realises that none of the versions of Harrison Wells were perfect people, and that they all found redemption through their time with Team Flash. With a bomb planning to explode and cause major casualties in Central City, and the Flash still not being fast enough, Nash decides to sacrifice himself and all of the other versions of Wells to create a new Speed Force. So thanks to Rosa, Cecile has a new facet of her power. She is now able to project her feelings onto others, something she uses to get Rosa to tell her about the black hole playing with the bomb. H.R. Wells briefly returns as part of the Council of Wells within Nash, and we all remember that H.R. sacrificed himself at the end of Season 3 when he disguised himself as Iris and saved her from Savitar. His death altered the course of the future when Savitar killed him in Season 3. We also see there is a new Harrison Wells, Harrison Orson Wells, who is an actor, and then we see Nash is powering the artificial speed force, and the Wells all say goodbye to Barry, including an emotional moments between Barry and Harry Wells, which ends with the classic line, "Run, Barry, run." And we finally see Barry gets his speed back thanks to the newly created artificial speed force. Now, I've said this lots and lots of times, Tom Cavanagh, in my opinion, he's probably the most versatile actor within the Arrowverse, and that's nothing against everybody else in the cast. They all do an excellent job, but to me, Tom Cavanagh is the most versatile actor I think I've ever seen. The way he's able to play different versions of Harrison Wells, but they still feel different and separate from each one. Just is a testament to what a great actor he really is. And he's able to play Harrison Wells, Harry Wells, Eobard Thawne, Sherlock Wells, H.R. Wells, all these different versions of Wells. It's just incredible, and he really makes you feel like they're all different people. So that is a testament to what an amazing actor he is. And the way Nash Wells just disappeared after sacrificing himself was an emotional moment for me. And I don't know how they would get Tom Cavanagh to play another character, but boy oh boy, if this is the last time we'll see him, then what a way to go out. But I've got a feeling he's going to come back in some shape or form, because you can't keep a good actor like him away, because he's just so damn good. So we see at the end of the episode, Iris types a message into the computer, but the screen does something odd, which takes her by surprise. And that pretty much wraps up the end of episode 1 for season 7. Overall, excellent episode. Nash Wells disappearing after sacrificing himself was an emotional moment for me, and it felt more like a season finale than the first episode, because the way everybody was reacting just made it even more powerful. And Iris seeing different versions of herself was a really good scene, and it's kind of fun, as I said earlier, seeing all different versions of herself in the Mirrorverse. So it just really shows you how much Iris West as a character has grown over the course of 7 seasons. And Grant Gustin put on an excellent performance as each different version of Harrison Wells, and I think my favourite one was when he's sitting there with the glasses and his hair's a little bit darker and he's talking that raspy voice like Harry Wells does. I thought that was great performance from his part. So there you have it, guys. That's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What did you think of the first episode of The Flash? Did you enjoy it? What was your thoughts on Nash Wells sacrificing himself? Do you think we might see another version of Wells, or do you think this might actually be it? What about Barry Allen getting his speed back through the artificial speed force? Do you think this will be permanent, or do you think there might be some fly on the ointment and do you think this could be a temporary thing? What about Eva McCulloch being revealed as a mirror duplicate of the original? Were you surprised by that? And what about the original Eva dying during the particle accelerator? Did you expect that? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will be back next time for another edition of the Flash Season 7 review series, where I'll be talking about episode 2, which I am very much looking forward to talking about. So until next time, take care everybody and stay safe, and thanks for listening.